Most B2B marketers know they want to and need to become more strategic, but how do you actually do that when you're drowning in tasks, firefighting random pointless requests from the sales team, and trying to prove yourself every single day? In this episode, I'm going to be sharing exactly how to move from frazzled, overwhelmed, burnt out as a B2B marketer right the way through to becoming a strategic, respected marketer who gets results in your B2B company. And I'm going to be joined by one of my incredible B2B Breakthrough Academy course students, Chloe. She's marketing manager for a company called Ripple, who are retail, display and manufacturing company. Could not get any more B2B than that. She's going to be sharing with you how she made a massive shift in her role to become more strategic, how her leadership team now views her. Spoiler alert, it's really good. She told me that they were blown away by her marketing strategy and that they'd never seen anything like it before. She's going to share her secrets on how she did that. And also a bit about the mindset blocks she overcame to become a happier version of herself who's confident to push back, confident to ask for what she needs, and able to step up into a more strategic position. She's increased her budget. She's had sign off on big brand CRM data strategy projects. She is taken seriously, and she's just a well-rounded, awesome strategic marketer today. This isn't going to be one of those fluffy, just be more confident chats. We're going to be talking about what being strategic actually means in B2B, the difference between looking busy and actually making an impact, and how Chloe stopped spinning plates and started leading marketing with confidence. So if you're stuck in that place of, I'm doing loads, but nothing's working, this is definitely going to be a good watch for you. Hi, Chloe. It is so great to have you on the podcast. Thank you for being here today.
Hi, Jade. Thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure.
So we haven't seen each other literally since you graduated from B2B Breakthrough Academy, the coaching program that we took together. And I just wanted to check in with you, see how things are going and see if we can give some advice to the listeners about how to become more strategic. So I thought we'd start by asking you if you could tell us a bit about what your day-to-day life at work looked like before you became this more strategic version of yourself and had your B2B breakthrough.
Yeah, so I came from a B2C background, so I had an awareness of B2B, but nothing on the level that I knew I needed it to be. So I was constantly Googling, looking on social media, and that's where I found you, Jade, and B2B Jade. So I think I was at Ripple for about 6 months, and the thing was I was doing all of these strategic things without even realizing. Like within the first couple of weeks, I had sat leadership down. I was asking so many questions about the business and the history of the business and where we were and where we wanted to be. And I really wanted to pinpoint how marketing could get them there. But I think it was an awareness of trying to pull that all together and to obviously be more strategic. But no one in the company had a strategic background from a marketing perspective. So I felt really stuck, and I found myself just constantly doing. And I knew that I had this vision, but I didn't know how to translate that. So that's where I was at, and I knew I needed help.
It's such a common one that we learn different components of strategy. So we kind of know that positioning is going to be important. We know that the messaging is. We know that we need to understand our audience. We kind of know we need objectives. But do you think that, just drawing on from what you said, that actually it's the pulling it together that's been missing from the B2B space? You know, how does this actually fit together in a jigsaw that makes sense, not just to me delivering it, but also that makes sense to the business and isn't just a bunch of just like models that just don't really make sense to the company?
Yeah, don't get me started on models. I don't like them. I think coming from university and a marketing background, you're never actually applying it. And that really frustrated me. I think leadership, they need to understand the tangible benefits of marketing, and marketing always has this perception of being fluffy. And I think sometimes they can perceive it as just the output, and that's frustrating, but I empathize with it as well, because as hard as it is for marketers, especially coming into a new business, when they feel nervous or they think that leadership isn't taking marketing as seriously, I think you have to empathize with the fact that they don't know a lot about marketing, so it's intimidating for them as well. Yeah.
I love that point, and I think sometimes that's why a big part of what I do is help marketers change their mindset, because it's not that we're supposed to accept being treated poorly, but it's about meeting people with an understanding that sometimes their fear, their lack of understanding will lead them to point the finger elsewhere and blame. If you had a CEO who fully understood and valued marketing and had experience working with really strategic marketers, they would be more likely to point you in the right direction, as opposed to give you very limited resources and expect miracles and growth. So actually, if we can reframe in our mindset how we see the behaviors that we're getting from sales and leaders, we actually can go a long way towards feeling like, actually, yeah, I'm not going to accept people treating me poorly, but I can understand where they're coming from. And that now better equips me to deal with the situation in front of me. So let's ask another question. So did you struggle with the marketing task wheel at all in B2B? Because that's something that is really common for marketers who've been in B2B all along or are coming from B2C. Did you feel like there were just loads of things taking place at the same time with limited resource to help actually deliver on them?
Yeah, so I'm a solo B2B marketer within my business. And I think it's something that us marketers have to give ourselves grace for as well, because from every marketer that I've ever worked with and know, we all just want to get things done. And I think a lot of the time being strategic isn't rewarded within a business unless leadership understand it. So if you're taking that time away to go and focus on the bigger picture, sometimes people are asking where the results are. So I think that's when we get so focused on we need to publish this or distribute this or send this many emails, whenever it's not actually focusing on getting the needle moved to where the business wants it to. And sometimes the business doesn't actually know where it needs to be moved to as well. So I think I definitely was always conscious of people seeing my work and understanding what I was doing. So I think one thing I did was started blocking out my calendar and writing down every single thing that I was doing, just as an accountability method for myself and for the business as well, to be honest, whenever I did start to get more strategic, because people were questioning what I was doing with my time, and that was okay.
It is really hard when that happens. And I shared vulnerably with you guys within the coaching program that I did have a job once where I kind of took it too far. I was like, we need to get strategic. So I basically paused pretty much all activity because, again, it was a small team. There wasn't many resources. I wasn't confident that what was taking place was delivering any benefit. In fact, sometimes it can be causing harm if data's not segmented well and campaigns are just flooding out. But I definitely spent too much time being like, we need to get strategic. We need to focus on these projects. And then the output looked like nothing because it was like a few month long project to turn the ship around. And I really pass on to people that I'm coaching to say it's really important to keep that activity cycle going to a point so that it's clear that there are things actually happening alongside the strategic piece, but not getting absolutely drowned in the absolutely ridiculous unstrategic tasks like 50 brochure tweaks per week from sales. And we can't even bash people. If it's the way it's always been done, that's what they're used to. They ask marketing for this, they ask marketing for that, and we take that on. But actually getting off the marketing task wheel and helping the business see we need to step back and get strategic here. We'll carry on with X, Y, Z, but doing A to Z is not going to work anymore. And let's get you on board with that.
Yeah. And I think the thing is it's all well and good having all of these campaigns and digital products that you can put out there. But if you don't have the foundations in place to actually distribute them or get people to see them, it defeats the whole purpose in the first place. So I think that's something that I definitely learned through the course.
Yeah, totally. And I wonder if you think that because everyone's got an opinion on marketing and everyone sees ads, billboards, something on, an ad on a roundabout, an advert on the TV, something they see on their phone when they swipe. I wonder if they're not seeing the complexity of what sits behind that. And they genuinely just think someone's just created an ad, pressed live, and that's marketing. So the foundation piece gets overlooked because they just see the output piece. Is that something that you think contributes to why B2B marketers struggle so much?
Yeah, definitely. It always reminds me of, I don't know if you've seen The Devil Wears Prada.
Whenever, 100%, a million.
Yeah.
I want to be Andy.
So whenever she comes in and she's like, it's just a blue belt or something like that, and she starts going in on her being like, no, it was goes through all the trends. That's what it reminds me of.
Yes. This is not just a blue belt.
Yes.
What you didn't know is this in circa 1976 was, and she absolutely ends her, and Andy's just like, whoa. I always love a Devil Wears Prada quote.
You have watched that a lot, haven't you?
Yes, that was my greatest inspiration. I actually, because of Andy, was like, I need to work in an office. Like, I need to be her. It is like that. There's always a complexity behind things that seem simple.
That's the thing that we need to take away from that as well, is yes, marketing puts out all of this stuff, but unless leadership and people in the business have an awareness of the stages that it takes to get there, they're never going to appreciate the amount of effort that goes in behind the scenes. So I think that's on us as marketers to be able to exemplify that as well.
Yeah, because obviously in years ago, if you just put an ad out, then maybe people would fill in your form and be interested in working with you. But now there's so much noise that it's not enough just to put an ad live. It's about what is the funnel behind that? Is the messaging right? How are we going to nurture those people if they come in the door? Are they even going to come in the door? So it's like so much more. And what are their buying stages? There's so much more to it than just, oh, put an ad live and that's going to solve our problems. So before you became this more strategic version of yourself as a B2B marketer, what were the main frustrations and challenges that were showing up for you in day-to-day life?
I think for me, it was definitely, I could see this bigger vision and I could see where the business was going to go, and I knew how I could get it there, but I didn't know how to put all the pieces together to be able to ask for what was needed, to be able to justify what was needed. I just felt stuck at that point and I knew something needed to change.
Did you sense that sort of B2B marketing gap? I imagine in B2C, there would be someone like more senior who'd done it all before, who would be able to be like, this is how it's done. Was it a bit like a free fall, as in like, there's no one here to guide me? Or did you experience that in B2C too? Like, was there any differences there?
No, to be honest, I think, yeah, in B2B, it was more the case that this is how we've done it. This is what we need to do. And I think sometimes you need to be the change, because just because someone's telling you that this is the way it's always been done, I'm like, right, well, if we're not getting the results that we want, then clearly we need to change the way it's being done. But yeah, within the business, there was no one strategically there to say this is the strategy that we need to deliver our marketing work around. So I think I just felt like I was going down multiple different paths. I was being pulled at each and every end. And I think that's the work ethic within me as well. I was wanting to do so much, but I just felt like I was burning out then. And that was just so frustrating for me, because again, I knew I was capable, but I knew I wasn't capable of doing it this way anymore.
I think burnout is so common in B2B marketers because often we're measured by how much we can get done. Mm-hmm. Like you said before, we're never given that time and energy and support to actually build something in the longer term. So we absolutely do need to continue with the quick win work. For example, I built a strategy for a client once, but whilst we were doing that, we made sure that we were reigniting and revisiting some old prospects and reigniting some old data so that they could get some fast meetings in the diary, so that no one kind of noticed that over here, the main bulk of our work was building this strategy. So it is about the quick wins, but also if we're not afforded the time to be truly strategic and we keep jumping from thing to thing, hoping that it's going to fix everything, we're never really going to get that time to be truly strategic. So thank you for sharing that with us. And so what did you try to overcome this? So, thinking about your career overall, is there anything that you tried before you joined the B2B Breakthrough Academy program to get past it? I mean, obviously you've got a degree. Have you done courses in the past that you're able to sort of draw on things or models that might help or frameworks? Is there anything that you tried to overcome this?
Within my first 6 months of the business, I did try and build a strategy, said strategy. And I think it was a good foundation to start off with as soon as I joined the business. But I was just pulling from different models and different theories from my marketing course in university. But I realised that it didn't even focus on budget or anything like that. And I think that it's probably my own fault for not asking those questions initially. To anyone starting out, make sure you get the questions in first before you start anything. And then it was just like YouTubing and searching things to try and help me. But it's always hard, especially if you're in an industry where there isn't that much information on the customer or research done on the customer. So I found it really frustrating because I was like, I don't know what the customer actually wants. So I found that quite difficult. But yeah, it was a bit of a slap job together strategy that I was doing.
I hear a lot from others similar to you that it's all about trying to cobble things together. And the insights I got from people was I've learned so much theory in my degree and that was so valuable. I've learned so many different models, but whenever I talk to leaders about them, they're kind of that's not relevant to us. And my theory is that if you're in a large corporate where there are loads of resources and loads of different people and a bigger structure, those models make sense because you're really deep diving, you're really analysing different sections of the business and what you're doing. But I think in the sort of small and medium-sized B2Bs where there hasn't been a really strategic approach to marketing, I think we have to get a bit quick and dirty. We have to really get on with it. And that's exactly why I built B2B Breakthrough Academy, because I spoke to thousands of marketers on TikTok and was like, there is a gap here. People are like, can you give me templates? Can you help me? Like, how do I make a strategy? And I was like, don't make me make templates. Like, I don't want to, but I think sometimes you just have to listen to a demand that's there and a gap that's there, and I wanted to fill it. So could you tell me, like, in the end, after trying all these things, what led you to decide to take the coaching program with me?
So I had been doing loads of research on different courses because I knew I wanted strategy help. I came across you on, I think it was TikTok. Everything that you were saying, I was like, ding, 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 like, here we go. I am in this pit hole and I need out. I was trying to be critical and strategic about it as well. So I knew I wanted to have a piece of work when the course was completed. And obviously you do the work along the B2B course. So I knew that I would have this piece of work that I could go and deliver to leadership. And I knew that I could do it alongside work. And I think it's all well and good showing me videos and all of that, but if I'm not applying it, I'm not learning it. So I think actually using the live data within the business, that was like unbelievable for me, because I think in usual courses, they're talking you through other people's examples, which is all well and good, but if you're not applying it to your own, then you're nearly doubling the work after you finish the course to go and do it, which defeats the purpose in my eyes.
One of the biggest things was trying to get people to see that this is not a course you're doing alongside all your other work. This is like your work for a few months. Like this is like, do this a couple of days a week or when you can, because you'll be building a strategy.
That was really key. And I think that that's something that leadership appreciated too, to be honest. It wasn't like additional work on top. Basically, the way that I explained it was, I'll get the stuff done that needs done, but long term, this is the right thing for us.
And how early would you say? Because I know that your leaders really started to see you step up quite soon. They were like, I'm pretty sure that fairly early into the process, maybe even the marketing reviews, which is part one of the 6 modules to creating the strategy, I'm fairly certain that your leaders like fairly immediately started to see a strategic change or recognize that this process was going to be positive and powerful for the business.
Yeah, 100%. I think even as you say, just with the marketing review, like sitting them down and asking those questions. And a lot of the questions were things that they hadn't even thought about before. And I think a lot of it was curiosity as to why I was asking those questions. Understanding this will help me with X, Y, Z, and building it back to the goals of the business, and even like discussing the goals of the business, because we had mission and vision statements, but I was like, right, what's the epitome? Like, where do you want this business to be? And it was just, I think it was really refreshing for them too. And I think it probably ignited something internally within the business, I think. I think they really appreciated it. I think they started thinking about the business overall. And within the first few weeks and modules, you nearly felt like a consultant within your own business, because you're not just looking at marketing, you're looking at each and every area within the business. So you really are driving overall business growth, which I loved. And I think that was a big thing that came from it from me.
I love that you said that, and that's exactly how it was designed. It's not about just head down for a few weeks and then out pops the strategic marketer. It's like, right, straight away, day one, go and speak to your leaders, ask them this. And then obviously the community was there and the live calls with me were there for people to be like, I'm freaking out. What is section 1.6 even for? They don't know why I need it. And I'm like, watch the video training for 1.6 because I'll literally demo to you exactly how to do it. I felt like I was drawing upon my experience when I was a marketing manager in 2013. I learned models and stuff from academics and people who were cleverer than me talking about marketing. I was like, but they won't buy it. Like, my leaders won't get what you're on about. So it was like, okay, template, every little section of the template, video training, here's exactly how to do it. Do you remember those being helpful? Because I sometimes wonder, I'm like, are they even used? The video trainings that guide you through the templates, did you find them helpful?
Oh gosh, yeah, I used every single thing, and it was nice to be able to go back to them as well. It was nearly like as soon as you watched something or you were tasked with something and you had a query about it, it was as if you'd already read our mind before we even needed it. I was just like, oh my God, someone gets it. It was so good. I loved it. And I think as well, it was nearly like accountability, having the community. And I loved that. And I think, yeah, it just really boosted my confidence, because sometimes especially if you don't have anyone else within the business that is like of a strategic mindset, it's having someone to just overlook it and be like, why don't we try this? Or, you are going in the right direction, like have confidence and keep going. And I love that, because like other courses, you don't get that. It's just you get slapped with all these videos and resources and downloads, whereas having that feedback was honestly so helpful.
I think one of the things people loved the most, and I want to watch them all back, all our video lessons, because it was the first time we did it, wasn't it, with your cohort of B2B Breakthrough Academy. And like, I think what was so lovely about those live calls was just that if people were behind, you were never behind, you were always on it. But like, if people were behind or feeling like they couldn't do it or they were stuck on something, there was no like kind of marketing bro mentality there. Everyone was like, I've got you. Oh my gosh, I've been feeling exactly the same. And I was so moved that we managed to achieve that with our first group. I think there were 50 of us in the first group, because it was like I wanted people to feel better about themselves as a result of this program, not like competitive or worse. And I wonder how much the mindset, because I built it to be a mindset shift thing and like a feeling better. How far did that go for you in terms of like feeling better about yourself and that you weren't alone?
Oh, it was astronomical. I think for me, there was always a big people pleasing tendency. And I think the mindset calls, they really transformed me. I was always beating myself up for, right, well, you haven't produced this much content and, you haven't ticked every single thing off on your list. And it's like, right, okay, well, you don't have to do everything. And I think that was a big point from the course that I took away. It was like, you don't have to do everything, and you don't have to do everything alone. You're allowed to ask for help and resource, and you shouldn't feel guilty for doing so either. I think that was my biggest takeaway, to be honest.
Oh, that's wonderful. Because I struggled on my own for so long. I had some wonderful experiences in B2B, and I had some terrible ones. And I guess I just reflected on what I would have wanted. And I'm just so happy that people are telling me that is what they got, because becoming more strategic is not about templates. It's not about filling them out and just coming up with the answers. I think a huge part of it is reactivating that part of our brain that is a creative problem solving marketer. Like, I will literally be listening to my favorite piece of music or playing cello or doing something different, and I'll be like, that's it, that's the solution to that problem, when I'm feeling inspired. But I think when we get bogged down by just tasks and feeling rubbish, there's no room for creative problem solving. And by focusing on fewer things in a marketing strategy, we can then be creative in how we apply it. So I'm so glad that worked for you. So in terms of building your strategy, because what I want to get across to people is that, yes, you're a more strategic thinker now. Yes, you're more respected in your business. Yes, your budget increased. You got sign off for projects. You've now hired amazing marketing agencies to do the work with you, so you're not on your own. But was there a particular, I'm trying to get across to people that this is a 6-part process that you literally build your marketing strategy from scratch. On the finished day, as long as you finish the program properly, you can literally present to leaders that this is our marketing strategy. I wanted to ask you, was there a particular part of the course that really stuck with you, just made things click, and you thought, right, now I'm getting it? Because I think after module 1, people can be like, oh my gosh, like, where is this going? What am I doing? Maybe freak out a bit at objectives. Was there a part in the 6 stages that you thought, I get it, like, this is coming together now?
For me, it probably was the strategy building and the difference between objectives and strategies and tactics, because again, I had learnt about it in university, but no one's actually telling you if it's right or wrong with the ones that you come up with. And I think having you to review those and be like, right, well, this is a bit more of like an overarching strategy as opposed to objective. I think that really helped me. But I loved building the plan. I loved pulling all of that together, like, just seeing how all the jigsaw pieces fitted together. I really enjoyed that. And actually having the activity planner, that really helped me, because it was like, right, okay, this is what your year will look like, but you give yourself room to breathe and pivot should you need it. And I think being able to present that then to leadership really helped too, because it was like, this is hopefully the end goal that we'll reach. Even if we don't reach these goals this way, here's our plan B, so we can pivot to meet whatever happens. So I think it was pulling the plan together for me, to be honest.
You just really enjoyed it, didn't you? And you and
Yeah.
Lauren, and because I mean, let's just touch on the fact that 6 weeks was crazy because you guys were the first cohort. You were like the beta round for this. So for anyone listening, the program that I now recommend is 12 weeks to go through this directly as a result of Chloe and Lauren and everyone else who took that program. So there were 50 of you, and I'd set it so that you would do it in 6 weeks. And the marketing review is now a 3-week piece. So if you imagine that you would have done in half the time that you did the whole course, that's what people now have for the marketing review. And it was really helpful for me. We had a little kind of group afterwards, didn't we, for you guys to give me feedback and help me improve for the full launch. So anyone listening, Chloe literally did this. She's like, oh, I took a bit longer. I'm like, I think you took 6.5 weeks. And like, this is a 12-week program. I loved what you said about the fact that I badge this as a simple process. That doesn't mean it's not hard work and effort. So if people are like, oh, I just want to fill out a template, I don't want to bother talking to leaders, I don't want to get insights from customers, it's like, well, that's not how you become strategic. And strategic, I really think it's about that internal piece where we stop being the people pleaser, we stop being the yes person. I love that you said internal consultant, because that is so key. If you can switch your mind to go, I don't care, in the best possible way. I don't care if you do the right thing or wrong thing. I'm going to say to you, I professionally recommend this and not that. If you decide to do that, that means this, and the impact of that will be this. If you decide to do this one, yes, more budget's required. However, this, what would you like to do? Great, you want to do that. What are we dropping? There's no like, it's like, I think we take too much ownership of the marketing and we care too much. If your mindset shifts to, I'm here to advise them, and if they don't follow it, I can then weigh up if I want to be in a business that doesn't follow my professional advice. And I think those breakthroughs were quite big for people as well during our first program. But you guys did so well to achieve what you did.
Do you know what? I just got goosebumps as you said that, because I think that was another huge breakthrough for me. It was realizing that the decisions that the business make aren't a reflection of your capabilities or competencies. And I think that was huge for me. As you say, this is what I advise. If you don't do that, that's okay. We'll figure something else out. I think that was really key.
And then when we go home, like Lise, she was sharing some stuff vulnerably with us on one of our last calls. And her imposter syndrome is basically gone. Like, she can go home for Thanksgiving and enjoy and not be worrying about work. And if she's performing, it's like we did that mindset work of unconditional self-acceptance. Even if I'm not performing, which is unlikely because I'm awesome, I can still enjoy Thanksgiving or Christmas over here, whatever it is that we're celebrating in where we live in the world. And it gives you that permission to go, I'm going to work hard to be a good marketer. I'm going to do my best. I'm going to learn to be strategic. But if people don't recognize that in me, if I'm actually not that good at this, I still have got so many other facets to who I am, and I can still accept and love myself exactly as I am. And I think that's what people don't always get with this program. It's not about templates and just learning. It's about truly rewiring your brain so that you can be happy in life if you achieve your goal of being strategic or if you don't. So what I wanted to talk to you next about, a couple more questions, is how big of a piece in becoming more strategic is the mindset shift work? And is it bigger than you thought? Like, did you think you'd be doing mindset work, or did you think it was just like learn theories and templates?
To be honest, I didn't think I would be doing mindset work, but once it was in front of me, I realized how much I actually needed it. I think, again, it's that people-pleasing tendency that I had, and I think a lot of marketers do have it without even realizing, because of that output piece and what you're measured against. Like, I had so much self-doubt, and again, because no one in the business had like a marketing background, I was constantly thinking, is this okay? Am I doing the right thing? And I suppose that comes from a place of care as well, and that's normal to have. But when you start beating yourself up over it, that's not okay. And I think that's something that I really realized from the mindset shifts, and they were hard to do, but I think the more that you apply it, the more it starts to stick then as well. Because even I know Gareth from Really Helpful Marketing, he reviewed my strategy, and I remembered he was just like, no, you're doing a good job. And I was like, oh my god, like, really? Like, Do you know what I mean? I think it's just hearing it
Yeah.
sometimes that you really need. And I think it's asking for feedback too. I think that's something that I learned from the strategy. Like I'll send my report every month and present it. And I'm like, right, please just give me feedback. Like even if you don't really know what I'm chatting about, just let me know what you think. It's good. Yeah.
Because if you can divorce your worth from what you're doing day to day, nothing can really get at you, and I practice this a lot with my friends now. If you finish work and you're feeling a bit rubbish about work, we often feel like we have to keep this perception up high of like, yeah, everything's great, I'm doing great. But sometimes my friends are like, how was work? I'm like, oh, sales didn't do what I wanted. It's not been great. And it's like, that's okay. Like I can trace back why sales dropped that month. I know why. Usually because I was like, I want to hang out with my kids more. I didn't post on TikTok very much. That's great. Is that failure? Like, and even if it is failure, so what? I can be a failed marketer, no problem. I definitely wanted the course to help people see that marketing is not brain surgery. It is not be all and end all. If we make mistakes, even if we lose our job, this is not what we're aiming for, but we could still love and accept ourselves even with all of that. I'm so glad that the mindset stuff helped as much as it did.
To be honest, I think it helped internally as well, because I learned how to be a lot more vulnerable with my leadership. I think the mindset shifts, they taught me that it's okay to be vulnerable and it's okay to have these doubts, but as you say, it's how you frame it in your mind, and as long as you're not letting it take over your whole life, that's the main thing then.
Love that. Yeah, I think being vulnerable is something that's really misunderstood as well in work. It's like if you see an angry leader sort of slam their hand down and say this, rah, 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 it's like that's not seen as emotional at work. That is highly emotional. Like if you're in a situation, you're reacting like that, it can be seen as like, oh, the person in charge and powerful, they're strong. It's like, no, that's very, very highly emotional. So that's not different to physically bursting out crying. If you burst with anger and frustration, you're bursting with emotion. You're not able to keep them in check. So actually, people showing emotion at work is a lot more common than we think, because any time when we're not able to just like calmly express what's happening is a show of emotion. And that can be from time to time. It can be good to show that vulnerable side because it shows people that actually I'm really struggling here. But in general, day to day, if we're able to see that how people perceive what we're doing and what we're actually up to is different, it's really easy to actually not feel heightened emotions, because again, like you said, if you don't mind if they do the right thing or not, you can sit there and say, I won't be able to achieve X, Y, Z, so I need you to give me priorities, and then you don't end up burnt out. So once you move through that process, I imagine now that you're not finding yourself needing to, let out all these difficult feelings to your leaders, because you're like, actually, I'm ahead of that now. I'm like, this isn't going to work. That'll lead me to burnout. I'm not willing to go there for a job because my life is important. And it kind of, those mindset shifts can really help over time as well.
That like emotional and mental resilience that you start to build up, and I think you're able to decompartmentalize things a lot more. And now that I have the confidence to be able to go to marketing and say that, like, right, these are the results that you want, but without XYZ, as you've mentioned, I can't do that. And you let go of this belief that you should be able to do that without the resources. It's like that saying, like, you can't make 10 loaves of bread with one bag of flour. Like,
I say that one all the time.
Yeah.
And like, I always tell the story of where a leader had said to me once, I said, look, they had a multi-million-pound CRM project with Microsoft Dynamics being put in place. And this leader, who was awesome, and I genuinely like learned a lot from him. But at the time he was like, right, you're in charge of implementing it for the marketing part of the business. I was like, I've never done that before. And he was like, why? I was like, because I've never done it before. You'll need to allocate X amount for consultants to do that. I've never used this tool before. Well, you should have. I'm like, okay, great, but I haven't. So it's not something I'll be able to do without us having outsourced specialists. And so the last point I'll make about, I think, why B2B marketers struggle is that job descriptions that we sign up for when we take the interview tend to list a million things. And most of the time it'll say manage or oversee, but they kind of mean just do. So then you're kind of trapped, because it's like, but you interviewed and you said you could do all this. It's like, yeah, I said I can oversee and manage and implement CRM strategies, but that doesn't mean I physically do them. But then marketers feel the pressure to do it, so they do a botched job and then they get the blame afterwards anyway when it doesn't work. So it's just in this real tricky spot. And so the best thing to do is just be like, you need experts for that. That's not something I can do. And in the end, they did hire the person, because I was just a bit like, well, I can't. I mean, I'd been there for a long time and I was senior, so I was able to do that. But I think it's such a good story, and people always find that exciting, that I would literally just say, no, I can't do it. I've not done it before. I just think it's so refreshing.
Yeah, and I love that. And I think I remember that story from B2B. And I remember even when it came to like building the business case that we need a CRM. I was like, no, we need an expert. Like, and I gave the points that you'd given, and then they were like, all right, yeah, okay, that makes sense.
And
So
you're
like
like,
that's why we're working with Samir now, and it's having that confidence after it. It was great.
it's such a good feeling because I can't put out shoddy work. So if I'm not able, that's why I've got a tech manager, product and pricing person helping me. Like I pay for things because I'm like, I wouldn't be able to do that as good as someone else. And so for us marketing managers and B2B marketers, we have to realise we're generalists, not specialists. You can't be a generalist and a multi-specialist. So that can be really freeing as well. So to sum up, we've got a couple more questions. Now that you've been through this process, now that you're the new strategic marketer, you've made your B2B breakthrough, you finished the program a year ago and you've been living life. Tell me in real terms, like how did the strategy go down? Is it actually happening? Are leaders still involved? Are they still on your side? What does your life look like now that you've made your breakthrough?
Straight up, when I delivered the first strategy piece, and especially around budget, there was not backlash, but I think I probably should have approached it a little bit different. So I went in, this is like the budget, what it should be. That's okay. But I was like, just to illustrate. I kept saying like, just to illustrate. I think then I went back and spoke with you, and you brought up that empathy piece. And it was like, look, if they haven't spent this much money on marketing before, it will be like a big shock to the system. And I think then I built the roadmap out. So I had done the initial strategy that I'd built. We'd executed that in the first 6 months. I pulled the results from that. And then we had the budget discussions again, and that's when the budget was increased because I had those results to be able to show the impact of marketing. I'd done a lot of like internal education pieces as well in terms of this is the cycle of marketing that we're doing, everything from inquiry right through to repeating the process of the sales cycle and marketing cycle. And I think that was really appreciated. The business were blown away by the strategy, to be honest. They said that they'd never had something so confidently presented from a marketing perspective. They've never had anything like that in the business before. And I think it gave them a confidence within the function of the business too. You know, you need to be cautious of how you're delivering it and presenting it. Like if you're going and asking for this big budget, you know, they will be shocked, especially if it's not something that has been done in the business before. And it's about those internal education pieces and being able to show the roadmap of that. And I think, Jade, that's something that you definitely shared with us and made me understand that, you know, you need to lead with empathy when you're having these discussions as well, and understand where they're coming from their perspective. Ultimately, from the course, I've got that confidence now to be able to sit down with leadership and say, this is what I need. If you're not willing to go there with me, then that's okay, but you need to meet me at some point, or we need to work together to be able to come up with something to be able to deliver on what we need as a business overall. But again, I was able to detach my worth from that as well. And I think that was the most important thing, to be honest. But yeah, leadership, they've been blown away by the strategy that I've delivered. And that was really rewarding for me too.
And what I'm hearing there is, and you look smiley, like my biggest goal for people's B2B breakthrough was that they'll just be happier in their lives. Like, would you say your life and work is happier?
Yeah. Honestly, I think I knew I was always capable, but oh my God, like the work that I delivered, I never thought I would be able to do it to that standard. And I think that's something that I was blown away by. Like, I'm so proud of it. I really am. And I think I've learned the skills to be able to do it yearly now. I know that if I ever need to refine strategy or come from a different angle, or if there's a new product launching in the business, I know that I'll be able to apply it no matter what it is in front of me. I think it's so nice to have breathing room in my diary and my checklist as well, to be able to be like, no, we're going to look at the results and think of the bigger picture instead of just constantly having to tick away at things.
Yeah, because the common misconception that people give me when if I build a strategy, I'll never have time to deliver it. I'm like, no. It's not like tasks over here, strategy over here, you've got to do all of it. It's much more pull everything together, throw out what's not needed, and do only the things that are necessary and matter. For the people who are listening right now, I want you to just take yourself back to where you were before going through this transformation. Like, what would you say to a B2B marketer who's listening right now, who is flooded with tasks, stuck on the task wheel, feeling demotivated? Maybe sales are not treating them very well. Maybe leaders don't respect them. Maybe they're just feeling completely burnt out. Like, what advice would you give to them right now to just help them feel, because obviously they are listening. So what can we say to them to make them feel better?
I would say it feels like the mountain is in front of you, and it feels like you're constantly rolling that boulder up. and it's flattening you every time that you think you're getting to a certain point or you think you're getting somewhere with leadership and sales. But there is resource out there to help you and to justify to your leadership why it's needed as well. And I think that's something that I really had to reflect on, because you're in charge of your own destiny, as cliche as that sounds, in work and life. If you don't put the things in place to help you get there, I nearly think of my life as a marketing strategy, and with all the tactics that I do, I don't know, that's crazy. I'm slave to the work. But I just thought, I was like, right, well, if I don't do this course or if I don't get help, nothing's going to change. The tactics are always going to be overwhelming me. And I know that I can't advance as a marketer myself if I don't help myself. You can only help someone so much until they want to help themselves. That kind of thing. And I think that applies to yourself and the business that you work for. And if you're asking for these things and you're exemplifying why you need them and you get pushback on that, I think that's when you need to reflect on if that's the right fit for you or if it's the place where you're going to thrive. And I think that's really important as well.
Yeah, I hear that a lot of people say, should I just leave? And I'm like, whoa, like I will never say to people, I'll just quit your job, it's rubbish, because actually the picture of in many B2B companies is the same, is that you've got some good people that you're working with, they want to understand, you're not strategic, so you're saying this isn't working and they're going, well, what will? And you're like, so it's not about quitting. I think it's about finding if there's a crack in the door and for that door to open, if they're open to talking to you. But I think it's got to be those good questions. And I love that you talked about the mountain, because I was genuinely thinking about this morning and whether or not to throw it in. But I was with this monk once in this room full of hundreds of people, and I had a really big life decision to make, and I was obsessing about it more than I should have. And I stood up and I asked him what I should do, and he was like, climb your mountain. And I was like, no, which thing do I do? And he was like, climb your mountain. And I reflected on it. He wouldn't give me anything. He wouldn't tell me what I meant. He was like, just climb your mountain. He wouldn't even tell me, like, go think about it. And what I came to realize was that decision that way is based on like a small root thing, like, oh, maybe how your bosses are treating you or how things are going externally to you. But if you just focus on climbing your own mountain, like moving forwards to become the marketer that you want to be, not worrying whether the business you're in will accept it, not worrying whether your friends will like the new non-people pleasing you, climb that mountain, become who you're meant to be, and the decisions will make themselves. So if you're on that mountain, you're climbing and you're becoming more strategic, you're asking the right questions, you're being who you want to be, and the business you're in is like, oh, I love this Chloe, she's awesome, this is so helpful to us. That's why you're still at Ripple. Whereas if you're in a company who are just like, oh no, stop doing that, that's so annoying, like go back to what you were doing before and we don't like this, then over time you'll be thinking, do I still want this? Should I take my new self somewhere else? And I love that this monk said to me when I was like 23. Now that I'm 37, I'm like, I get it. Just climb that mountain.
I love that story. I love that. And I love how you're randomly with a monk.
Yeah, I was looking for answers.
Yeah.
And probably shouldn't have been. I probably should have just been going with life. But it was an interesting concept that I really thought that'll make sense one day, but it didn't for years.
Yeah, but I kind of get it, because I think nearly from what I've been speaking about in terms of when I say I knew where I wanted to get myself and the business, I think taking these small steps and actions, I was nearly manifesting it for myself, because obviously manifestation, you need to put action into it too.
Yes.
And I think that's doing this course and building the strategy that helped me get there. And now every day I'm sitting down being strategic as opposed to just sitting like putting out social posts every day. Do you know what I mean? I love that. And I nearly manifested it for myself, I think.
I love that you said that, because manifestation for me is action. Yes, you visualize what you want, but then you have to make it happen and actually do things in that direction. So thank you so much for talking to me. It's been so great. I've missed you so much. It's like crazy where the time has gone. And if anyone does want to learn more about B2B Breakthrough Academy, you can have a look through the link in the show notes or just head to b2bjade.com. I am also, Chloe, just to let you know, you gave me an idea for some product launches a few months ago about how to get promoted. So the good news is that off the back of some more insights I've been doing, obviously B2B Breakthrough Academy is my signature program, but I've realized that I need to have some more accessible products. So I'm bringing out some bundles soon, like mindset motivation bundles, some planning bundles, some content bundles. So people will be able to buy more kind of lower cost options from me. So I think everyone who's interested in getting more strategic, yes, Absolutely, you can always join me on the signature program. I'm live every few weeks to answer questions, be there if you're in the community. It's like the all singing, all dancing program, isn't it? Like everything you'll ever need is in there. But I also realized, like, being that perfectionist, not everyone needs absolutely everything right away. So if you want to dip your toe in with a few of my new toolkits and bundles that are coming out, keep an eye out on my website, and I will, if you make sure that you're on my email list through grabbing some of the freebies in the show notes as well, I'll make sure that I let you know when those things are launched. I just want to get as many people in to becoming more strategic versions of themselves as possible, and there's different ways to do that. So thanks, Chloe, because you gave me a really good idea. You were like, what about if you launch something that's to do with helping people get a promotion? I was like, okay, I like it. So I've made a bundle.
I'm so excited for this. It'll be great.
Yeah, you might like some of them actually, because
Yeah.
like there's a content, it's called the B2B Content Confident Kit, and it's basically got everything you need in terms of equipment and, you know, templates to fill out to find out, you know, what your content should be about, and just like my actual process of making all my content as well. So I thought that would be valuable. So there's a few different ones, and yeah, I'm literally working on it, and it's like, oh, I've got to overhaul the entire website again, like, oh my gosh.
No, I think that'll go down so well, because I remember when I first started searching for things, it's so hard to find B2B specific. And I think that was always like my biggest headache. I felt like I had to adapt every template to be able to suit B2B environment. And it was so frustrating. So I can't wait. Love that.
Yay. Oh, I'll let you know when it comes out.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. Thanks so much. I hope that you found this video useful today. Make sure that you subscribe to my channel for future updates. Give us a like and hit the alert button. And I would love it if you'd leave me a comment to let me know if you found this useful today. And if you have any questions, I'm very happy to answer them in comments.